Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's show on the CoreHealth Collective show. Today, I've got a guest, an old friend, Peter Payne. He is an owner-operator with his wife, Laura, of the Live Well Center here in Kingston. He's also my chiropractor, also a friend, also a workout partner. I actually, funny story before we get into it. I just stopped Pete about 10 minutes into this recording because I realized I forgot to record it. So he's nice enough to start over and share a little bit of his background with me again. So sorry about that, Pete, but we got it right this time. My bad. One thing I mentioned when I brought you into the show last time was it's cool to see all the books in the library behind you, because I know you for slugging weights around the gym and always trying to keep up with you with zero success. And it's cool to see that you're the intellectual I figured you were as well with all those books. So welcome to the show again. And yeah, I appreciate you starting again with me.
Oh, no worries, Ben. It's good to see you, buddy. And you look really, really good, healthy as well. And I wouldn't call myself intellectual, but I like to read a lot, but definitely not an intellectual. So yeah, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, well, I read Mad magazines. That's all I read. I'm just kidding. Do you remember those?
I do remember those, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even read them. I just went to the back to do that trifold thing. So anyways, you were starting to give an introduction about yourself, and you know, it started at a very early age, your interest in the health industry. So maybe you could kind of start from the top again.
Sure, for sure, Ben. So I've always been interested in health and fitness and wellness, right from the early days of being in high school and trying to make the football team and trying to work out and see what was the latest and greatest and ways of working out. I was a big subscriber to Muscle and Fitness magazine back in the day, and some of my favorite articles were by a guy named Tom Dieters with a DC after his name. And I never knew what a DC was, and it wasn't until decades later I found out he was actually a chiropractor writing those articles, which is kind of cool. Went on to do a life sciences program at Queen's University. And most people in the life science program, they're going off to do medicine or a master's in pharmacology or biochemistry. And that's what I was looking at doing. I was playing football at Queen's, and in my third year, we went over to England to play against a men's football team over there. And after the game, I was in a car accident where we had way too many guys packed up in this SUV, and he rode the car going around a corner after the game.
I did not know this story.
Yeah, like it was an old SUV. Like back then, it was like, I forget what year it was, but it was one of those great big SUVs, and we literally had 13 guys packed in this SUV, and I was in the back with guys laying across my lap, and he went around the corner. And those SUVs are, they're top heavy, so myself and one other person went to the hospital, and I hurt my shoulder and my chest pretty badly. And I was looking at, again, just trying to get back to the gym and train for the next year of football. And that's when I started seeing a chiropractor, and he was able to get me fixed up pretty well, pretty quickly. And that's what opened up my door or my mind to that approach to health and I guess training and wellness, a natural approach, more of a functional type of approach. So the more I looked at it, the better it seemed. And so I applied to Chiropractic College after my Queen's career and went from there. Went there for 4 years and came back to Kingston and have been practicing in Kingston ever since for like 22 years, I guess now.
Wow. Who would have thought that the incident or the event that pushed you towards chiropractor school would be, an accident that you would have never wished on anybody?
Yeah, it happens a lot though. Like it's usually people having a personal experience that kind of sets them on that path, I guess. And it's kind of cool because then you get to be a patient firsthand and know what it feels like, and then you can have a greater sense of empathy when other people are coming through your door.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know that story. You've recovered well, because I still can't catch you around the gym. Don't even try. Yeah, what people may not know is, and I'm just going to brag for you, Pete, because I've told the story to lots of people, that you were this close to making the CrossFit Games as a master's athlete, which, I'm not sure how you view that, but I view that as like anybody that's close at all is like superhuman, because the level that you have to be at to even be in the conversation, to me, as someone that I did CrossFit all the time and I was nowhere close, is just amazing. So,
Thanks, Ben.
you certainly have made a nice comeback from that accident.
Oh, thanks, Ben. Thanks.
So I am curious, so did you meet Laura, your wife and business partner, in school then?
I did, yeah. So I was a year ahead of her and met her. We both went to Queens, but never knew each other while we were at the school together. And we didn't meet until my second year at the chiropractic school in her first year.
Interesting.
So,
Yeah, that's fascinating. Interesting. So, okay, so now you get out of school, and now what? Because what some people don't realize is many of the areas of health and wellness, you're an entrepreneur at the same time as trying to be a caregiver, right? And so where did you start? Like, did you start working for somebody? Did you start your own practice right away? Like, how was that entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, so that's something we can definitely talk about, Ben, because it's a pretty steep learning curve for most people in my profession. So coming out, it's not like medicine where you have, like, if you go through medicine, you're going to get a job in a hospital. You're pretty well guaranteed a position somewhere. In chiropractic, most people grow off in kind of into practice for themselves. Now they can open up their own practice, or you can kind of join another practice that's already in operation and become an associateship or an employee. When I graduated, I joined another practice where there's another chiropractor who also had a medical doctor, a couple of massage therapists working, and we all had our own kind of practices working under one roof. And so that was a good way. So you're working alongside somebody else who's been, working for a while, so you can kind of learn and pick his brain for how to do things. But you're still kind of your own boss. You can pick your own hours and how you want to work and that type of thing. So that was a good way to start. And then after 2 years, things dissolved due to some personal issues on the person that owned the clinic. So I went off and opened up my own practice not too far from the original building. And then my wife, Laura, also had her practice out in the other part of town, which is like about a 25-minute drive away. After our second child, it didn't make much sense to have two different practices going at once, where we have, two overheads, two staff, and we're going in different directions. We decided to consolidate, and she brought her practice into my building, and then we kind of offset each other's hours, which worked really, really well. And then there's always somebody, and it worked out well for family and healthcare, because there's always a parent home with the kids, and always a parent that's kind of working in the business or in the practice. And we did that for like 4 or 5 years. And then in 2010, we always had this kind of goal or this dream of having this big multidisciplinary kind of multifactorial treatment center or wellness center with lots of people and that type of thing. So we went ahead and kind of opened that up. We expanded our space to basically triple our size and open up the practice, and we brought in other practitioners in 2010, and that's what we've been doing ever since. And then since then, we've had some ups and downs we can talk about, and then COVID changed things a little bit as well. But that's basically where we're at now. We're working in a clinic called the Live Well Center in Kingston. Myself and Laura are the chiropractors. We have 2 physiotherapists, and I think 4 massage therapists, and a little gym space, all operating in the same space.
Yeah, awesome. Your clinic's beautiful for anybody that's watching. I go there regularly, and I'm probably overdue right now. If we were in the same room together, I'd ask you to help me out with my shoulder, but we're not.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Ben.
But definitely overdue. Yeah, it's been really great seeing you grow the practice, and I'm also so on this show I really try to discover, like, what do the entrepreneurs do? So why did you do it? And then try to figure out what the evolution is of the business, where it's going, and also how the customers obviously fit in there. So before we get talking about kind of what could be coming next in your field, where we try to put ourselves in a time machine and move forward and see what happened. I'm interested to hear the kind of the evolution of the client. So when you started your practice, what was the client journey? Like, how did you get your customers, and has that changed, over the years?
Yeah, for sure. Like in the beginning, like back then, you currently we're mostly word of mouth, and that's always the best way to go for what we do. But back when we first started, like you had to get your name out there. So we'd go to different meetings. We'd go to different. We try and do as many public speaking talks as we could. We'd go do like a lunch and learn type of talk at different businesses. We would go if there was a community health and wellness conference or seminar. We try and go and be involved with that. We even had, well, you remember, we even have what were called the yellow pages back in the day. So yellow pages, which don't exist anymore. There's always pressure to be in the yellow pages and have the key placement and key size ad in the yellow pages. So I think that's what a lot of people did, just to kind of get the ball rolling and do that for at least the initial period until you did get a name out for yourself. And then you would try and focus on the word of mouth. And once you have patients and clients coming in the door, then you do a good job and you service them really well and you help them, then hopefully they're going to tell their friends and family, and you peel away from doing those external kind of advertising as much as we could. Because back then, like yellow pages was like a big thing. Like I remember spending like $800 a month for a yellow page ad.
Yeah.
And the type of people you get in a yellow page ad, like that's usually not the ideal situation.
So what's a target client? What's an ideal client if you could mold them out of clay? Who would they be?
So so in our center, like we do focus on, like we love seeing like a family oriented type of person, a health focused, health minded. Kingston's great because a lot of people do have that education background, so they're higher educated, higher income. But those also tend to be the people that are more health focused and more proactive and preventative focused as opposed to reactive. I love seeing all ages, to be honest. Like I love seeing Queen students because they have a lot of energy, like the university kids, they have lots of energy and lots of vitality when they come in. But I also love seeing like somebody like yourself, a 50-year-old dad who's trying to get fit and trying to keep himself healthy and well.
I can't believe you said I was 50.
Yeah, almost 50. You're 48.
45. Wow.
45, sorry, man. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm thinking about myself. I'm 52, so I'm thinking about myself, Ben. Sorry about that.
It's even worse. It's even worse. Can't keep up to you at the gym. You think I'm older than I am. It's all right.
No.
All right. It's
sorry, Ben.
It's you're only as old as the woman you feel.
That's right. And then I'll have like people even up in their 90s coming into the practice. Now they take a different type of approach and touch than others. But to be honest, like my ideal person would be somebody in their 30s to 50s kind of thing.
Okay. And how's the multidisciplinarian clinic going for you? Like what is it? How's that benefited your clients, and how's the business end of it going?
So it benefits the clients because people love, like in the past, if they wanted to see a massage therapist or a physiotherapist, we'd give them a name and they'd have to go find someone on their own kind of thing. And whether it works out or not, like you have no control over that. Whereas now they come in and you can just tell them, see this person in that room over there kind of thing. And then as a practitioner, you can talk and you can go over the person's profile and have that good communication so that everyone's on the same page and they're getting the right type of care. So patients and clients love it. They love coming in and seeing one person and not having to get in the car and drive somewhere else to see somebody else kind of thing. And then as a practitioner, you like it because then you can, you're on top of the person's care. You can see what they're doing and how they're doing it in another person's hands. What is tough and what has been a struggle, and this is something we don't develop in school, is that leadership or that management aspect. So I will admit I'm a poor leader and a poor manager when it comes to kind of handling the human resource side of things. So that's probably been my biggest struggle is, and in the beginning when we opened it up, most people were independent contractors, but they were still kind of working for the center. And then you're coming into lots of headaches and issues because, with the typical issues of having employees, but at a much higher degree because they're independent contractors. So they're kind of in a different realm. You can't really, you can't discipline somebody or anything like that, but you're still dealing with all the hassles of having an employee. The cool thing though that happened with COVID is we changed our model and we went to a complete shift where all the other practitioners are just renting space from us, and we provide like some of the services still, but they're totally on their own in terms of managing their practice in our space. And that's been a godsend for our front desk staff and for us, to be honest, because they have way more leeway on what and how they do. And if they decided to take a week off because of whatever, then that's up to them. And we don't have to worry about it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then they get to still, leverage the brand that you've built over many years, because that's where their practice is.
Yeah, they're walking in and they get an instant access to, their practice, and their business goes up instantly just from all the referrals that are going to come their way from just being in that location.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a win-win for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. You mentioned something earlier, and I've heard it several times talking to others, which is the proactive piece. People that, looking for people that are proactive about their health. Do you have a sense, a guess is fine, but what percentage of your patients are proactive in their health versus reactive? Because it seems to be that the consensus amongst the people I've talked to through this podcast already believe that the healthcare system is mostly reactive. But the clients that come to see you, what percent would you say are generally proactive in their health, like generally, and reactive? Do you have a sense of that?
Yeah, I'd say the majority are going to be somewhat proactive. Now, well, maybe like 50, 60%, I'd say.
Okay.
Are proactive, and they're looking at ways of not just getting themselves out of pain, but also, feeling good and performing well and moving well. Less chance of, getting sick or getting hurt. And if anything, I would agree, like the healthcare system is set up for being reactive. But if anything, what COVID has shown us is that, that for a lot of people that's not going to do it. Like, we have to take more responsibility for our health and be way more proactive. We can't depend on the healthcare system to be there for us when we need it. We have, it's great when we do need it, but there's so much more we can do so that hopefully we don't have to depend on the healthcare system.
Yeah.
And that's what we try and do. We try and lead our patients to, they have to, they should be, moving and exercising and eating the right way, getting enough sleep, and making sure, they're not having any signs of joint degeneration or restrictions or weaknesses or imbalances and that type of thing. And, but there are people that will just come in when they're in pain, and we'll see them once every now and then, and they're coming in severe pain, and we'll help them out, and we won't see them again, and then they'll get in pain again. And eventually it becomes, if they cycle through that enough, they may decide to kind of do something a little bit more proactive.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm hearing very similar things. I'm glad. It's nice that at least 50% of your practice is proactive. Sounds like a solid customer base. There's probably some sort of lifetime value calculation for the proactive client that's much higher than the reactive, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's better for business and practice wise. I'm going to see somebody, like, we'll see, depending on the person and the age and their background, if we see them every few weeks, that works much better for us and for them. And they're just better people to deal with. Like, when they come in and they're in such severe pain, and they're going to, nobody wants to be in pain, and it can affect their personality and their home life and that type of thing. And when somebody's coming in and they're feeling good, they're looking good, they're just a much better person to work with, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. A side note, how have you navigated your career being Dr. Payne as a chiropractor?
I probably haven't used it to my benefit enough. I think it's kind of a funny name to work with, and a lot of people get a kick out of it. I've had people. So before we were at the Live Well Center, it was just my name on the front kind of sign, and I would sometimes see people taking pictures of the sign just to kind of get a kick. And I remember even listening to CBC, and they started talking about my name on CBC as one of those names that kind of determines what you do in life, kind of thing. So it's a well-known name, I guess. So, but I probably could market it in a better way and have the House of Pain or whatever kind of thing.
No, it's just
cool.
interesting. I've never talked to you about that, but you don't need
It
to talk
scares
to
some people though.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah. Some people say, like, I'll have patients that say, "Oh, I tried to tell my aunt to come and see her, but she says, no way am I going to see somebody named Dr. Payne. That's too scary."
Oh my. Just go by Dr. Pete. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So if you had a crystal ball, or maybe your people in your industry, your peers, you're already talking about it, what's the next evolution of chiropractic work? Like, where are you guys going?
It's definitely more, and it's going to continue along the health and wellness focus. Like, so not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, we were at a health chiropractic conference in Las Vegas, and one of the speakers there was the U.S. Surgeon General, who was basically during the last administration, basically Tony Fauci's boss, and he was saying, their whole approach is to, we all have to get the general population healthier, and chiropractors are in a good situation in terms of being able to spend a little bit more time with their patients, their clients. They see them a little bit more frequently than, say, your medical doctor. You may see your medical doctor for 2 minutes once every 6 months or once every 12 months. And in terms of going over things like exercise and their diet and stress management and sleep, chiropractors are in a really good position. They have that relationship with their patients, with their clients. We have that background. So in school, and on a personal note, we just, we have taken more courses and more development in terms of approaching things naturally and looking at stress management and sleep cycles and nutrition. Whereas the medical approach, obviously they're going to depend a little bit, be more heavily focused on medications and other interventions. So chiropractors continue to focus on health prevention, nutrition, exercise, stress. There's more, I do see us going more into online, perhaps doing some more things online, maybe interacting with people more in an online format. But the one thing that sets chiropractors apart is always having that kind of hands-on type of approach. So whether it's soft tissue work or joint mobilization or adjustments, there should be some type of human interaction between the chiropractor and the patient with a direct hands-on approach.
Yeah, interesting comment about, like, because you have more access to patients or just to human beings through your practice than like a medical doctor and maybe massage therapists and maybe physio, that it's an opportunity for you to talk about more of the holistic approach to health, even though you're just at that point they think they're there to get adjusted. So yeah, I think that's interesting. And do you think that that your peer group feels a sense of responsibility to fulfill that opportunity?
Oh, for sure, absolutely. Like the chiropractors I hang out with, we're all about. It's the better educated the patient is or the client is, the better they're gonna do. So you're trying to help them along their journey to become a healthier person. And hopefully preventing things from happening in the future. And that's, most chiropractors go into this type of work to serve their patients, to help their patients. They want to see them do well. They want to help them as much as they can. So so we have to address what they're doing outside of the office.
Okay.
So I think most people are in that same boat.
Yeah, I've experienced that in visiting the clinic myself and working with you, but I didn't, I thought you were maybe taking a little extra time because we were friends, and now I know that it's like a mission of the chiropractic community, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I would say, well, I would hope so. Maybe obviously it's not going to be like that in every office, but maybe I'm just being idealistic, but we should be doing that.
Yeah, no, I think you have an opportunity. Like you said, you see people more times than most health practitioners. So it's an opportunity, and it could be also, an obligation, right?
Yeah, it's a responsibility for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's awesome. What would you say the biggest challenge to being a chiropractor is? Like what's the thing that you guys deal with that's really tough?
Working with patients is great. I think everything outside of that, like a typical business owner would run into, dealing with human resource sides, getting financial backing. Like the biggest issues we had in the past when we did our expansion was, trying to negotiate financing for that, and then getting the best terms and that type of thing. Being a leader or a manager of people. So like Laura, my wife, does a great job at keeping everyone all together and in the same page type of thing. Whereas myself, I would get frustrated if people aren't kind of going in the same direction kind of thing. So it's that human, I guess, management side of things that's probably my biggest struggle. But serving the patients and helping patients, that's awesome.
Okay, that's cool. So I've learned a lot today. You're a great guest. One of the last things I always ask people is, and you can pick either or answer both. There's no pressure. So is there a productivity hack that you have on the business side that you'd like to share, or an amazing book that you've read that maybe sitting on a shelf behind you? I don't know.
Yeah, in terms of productivity hack, I would say trying to compartmentalize.
Yes.
Am I saying that right? Yes.
You got it.
So keeping your work at work and keeping your home life at home. No, that's the most important thing. And not allowing them to overlap and merge too much. Keeping your home life great, keeping your family life great, and then keeping your business side of things. So focusing on work when you're at work and focusing on the family when you're with the family. That'd be the number one thing.
Yeah.
In terms of books, you've probably read the E-Myth by Michael Gerber. E-Myth, that's a great book. The 80-20 principle book. I don't know if you ever read that. I think that's a fantastic book where 80% of the results you get come from 20% of what you do or the people you have, that type of thing.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah, and then anything by Seth Godin. Seth Godin. Do you know Seth Godin?
Yeah,
in terms of
he's
marketing?
amazing.
Yeah, he's amazing. So
Purple Cow and The Dip and a whole bunch of other ones.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's been super helpful. Thank you so much for joining. It was really cool having you on the show, just because I've known you for a long time. And what I said to Pete before we started, Brandon on my team, he put a list together based on the criteria of like who we should bring on the show, and he told me the other day that Dr. Peter Payne's going to be on the show, and I said, wow, he's a friend of mine, actually. That's so amazing that you just picked him. Of all the people we could have on the show, and we're having many people, that he was on the list, because I would have put you on the list anyways, but I probably would have been a little biased because I know you. So you're a perfect fit for the show, even through somebody's eyes that didn't know you like I do. So I thought that was pretty
thanks,
cool.
Ben. Yeah, that is cool. It's a small world.
Yeah, it's a nice way to end the day too. Anyways, hopefully I'll see you soon, live and in person, but thanks again for joining.
Okay, thanks, Ben. You take care there.